Hey everybody, it's Marty from owingsart.com. That's OWINGSART.com, and today we're going to take a look at the Prismacolor Premier Marker set. This is the manga set. It comes with 12 markers. It's made in the USA. The colors aren't exactly clearly marked on the box. You know, it's a little ambiguous, the names. The colors are in the PM, series, so the Prismacolor series numbers, which you'd have to have a color chart to understand the corresponding actual color, but there's purples, reds, yellows, a couple of flesh tones, a pink, and so that's it. The manga, the Prismacolor manga set. There's no real difference in the price for this set than there is a regular Prismacolor set. I just figured I'd try it out because I like to once in a while sketch manga, and so today we'll take a look at these. What I'll do is I'll take a look at each one of the markers and the various tips on these markers, and then later on I'll go ahead and do a drawing with it and see how they perform. So I've heard a lot about Prismacolors over the years, and since Newell Rubbermaid bought Prismacolor, a lot of the consensus is that the quality has gone down a bit. So I'll have to admit that when I purchased these markers, my expectations weren't very high. That said, let's see how they do. Well, I'm just, this is the finer tip point right here. As you can see, that's got the narrow tip on it. And then the other hand has this bigger, wider tip. Now, Prismacolor says, well, you can get several different types of angles using 4 different line widths available with each double-ended marker. So yes, you'd have to hold the marker right, you'd have to tip it. It doesn't really have a brush end tip that I'm used to using, although if you're used to these and you started out with the Prismacolors, you may be used to it and you may like it. I kind of didn't like it. I didn't think it felt like I could have as much precise control as I do with a brush tip marker, and that's probably because I'm a painter as well, so I'm just used to the control you can get with a brush as opposed to the strange angles on these tips. So right here, I'm just going through and laying down a little bit of color from each of the markers, just kind of testing them out. I don't have very many to do since this is only a 12 marker set, but afterwards I'm going to go ahead and try a little blending too with a Colorless Blender. I bought the Colorless Blender separate. One of the things that I was disappointed by in this set, and I'll go through a full list of pros and cons here, was the sienna, the brown pen that came in this set was empty. It was dry. I didn't get anything out of the fine tip end and just very little before it ran out on the other end. So that's a quality control issue. The marker was just dried out. The other thing that you're going to notice if you're used to using a different type of marker, that these can be a little tough to hold. They're a little bigger around than you might be used to. I mean, they're not as fat as the big huge Sharpies, but they're not as thin or nice as a Copic marker. These markers are alcohol based as well, and they're not refillable that I know of. Maybe if there's expert Prismacolor people out there that know how to refill them, then I will stand corrected, but as far as I can tell, they're not refillable. Now here's what I'm going to try. I'm going to try to do a little manga drawing of a girl, and what I'm doing here is I'm just lightly outlining this with a pencil. Then I'll go back in with ink and I'll finish it off. So what you might notice right off the bat, and what I was pretty disappointed with, was my manga eyes on this person. They're terrible. They're just horrible. And yes, I realize that, and so you don't have to leave that comment. To prove to you that I can do a manga drawing, in a minute here I'll show you a Goku I did from a Dragon Ball Z with Copic markers, a little comparison. But the color didn't go down all that bad with these Prismacolors. It's just that they didn't seem as vibrant as I'm used to with, say, a Copic. Here's that Goku drawing I did some time ago with Copic markers, and you can see I know how to draw manga or anime characters. I just, these markers and the markers, these Prismacolor markers, just bothered me a little bit. The other thing I found was the caps are really hard to remove, and I don't know if it was just my batch, but I tend to think no. that they're just hard as heck to remove. So if you were going to have a kid use these, they're pretty tough. So overall, I just don't think I can recommend these markers. And it pains me to say so. I wish I could, but I just can't. And you know, when you look at how expensive they are and the value proposition there, they're just way overpriced for what you get compared to a Copic marker. That's going to do a much better job, blend better, and just be overall quality is going to be higher and refillable. If you have any thoughts on these Prismacolor markers, leave a comment or a question on the video, and I'll go ahead and answer that as soon as possible. All right, well, thanks for stopping by today, and don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And this has been Marty for owingsart.com. That's OWINGSART.com, taking a look at the Prismacolor Premier markers today. All right, have a great day, everybody. So long.